I would like to start tonight with a tribute to Raw Dog Screaming Press, who's been publishing for 5 years. So let's host Raw Dog Screaming Press. I want to say something about Raw Dog Screaming Press before I begin, just to embarrass John Edward Lawson over there, publisher. Whenever I tell people that they ask me who's your publisher, and I say Raw Dog Screaming Press, immediately they go, oh! And I know what they're thinking. First they respond to the word raw. Like, ew, it's raw, it's decorticated flesh that hasn't been cooked yet. And then they think, dog, but dogs are cute. How can you decorticate or skin a dog, right? So that's just gross and just wrong and inhumane. And then the screaming. Well, why is it screaming? Well, it must be skinned alive, right? And so they always respond to those first 3 words, right? And then they get images of a Korean deli in their mind or whatever, and it's all over with. But to me, the really scary, horrific word about Raw Dog Screaming Press is the last word, press. Because in my mind, I see a decorticated puppy dog screaming for its life pressed between 2 metal plates. And to me, that 4th word just really pushes it a little bit over the top. And so, again, a toast to you for being the grossest publisher. I just wanted to give you a little 5-year tribute. The couple sit arm in arm on their deck, admiring the birdhouse that she made him for their anniversary one year. It stands on a tall copper pole, the centerpiece of their small but tidy yard. The birdhouse is a perfect replica of their roomy Cape Cod home, from the curvy dark roof tiles to the jutting American flag, all the way down to the green trim and shuttered windows. The only major difference is the deck. This is a pointy tongue of wood that functions as a roomy perch. It has been their routine to cuddle over coffee and soak up sunlight while watching the wrens make their nest. It's packed with so many birds, they've awakened him many times at dawn with their screeching. He's thrown rocks at them when she isn't around. But today, while the husband reads his paper, the wife notices something different. Last night's storm has damaged her sculptured replica. It takes her a moment to realize that not only is the birdhouse standing a little crooked and its flag nowhere in sight, but also that the copper pole that it rests upon no longer catches sunlight. The pole has an unnaturally dull patina of black from top to bottom. They speculate on the cause. Bad copper? Rust? Mud? Bird poop? No. It's been blackened to a crisp, she muses. Lightning, he suggests. I hope the birds are okay, she says, alarmed. Oh, I like my eggs fried, he says. He shrugs in response to her glare before a flurry of huge feathers surprises them both as he spills forward, tumbling over the edge of the deck. His wife blinks and tries to figure out what is happening. Blood trails over the edge of the deck. His well-polished shoe rests on her lap. She almost doesn't see the leathery talon withdrawn back inside their porch door. It clutches her husband's leg, arteries dangling, red as earthworm. You find a tiny dead mouse in the tines of your flea comb. You laugh when you realize your cat has mice, not lice. What you initially thought those tiny black pellets were could very well be this freakishly small mouse's droppings, engorged with blood, not those blood-sucking insects. This furry fiend, its 2 front teeth protruding from gray lips curved like tusks, tell the whole story. The mouse fed off the blood of the cat like a parasite hooks into its host. This horrifies you, but what you want to really know is what killed this Mouseferatu if it wasn't the cat. He lights up and places his cigarette in the antique ashtray. The baby cries from its nursery. He knows how wrong it is, but he can't stop smoking. Not now. Even though the doctors this morning told him that he absolutely must, for the sake of the baby. The smokes had already stolen his wife, that beautiful health nut, lover, and art dealer, and new mother. He had quit for her when the signs first showed. They sold off almost all their antique furniture and her complete collection of rare paintings and sculptures to pay for her cancer medicine. But all of it was a waste. Now his house was empty, save for the cries of their baby. Her loss only made him need the cigarettes more. Secondhand smoke, they speculated. They said the same thing about the baby in the other room. Tumors forming in the infant's lungs. Usually doesn't happen so quickly, they said. They showed him the x-rays, and there was no denying the black spots here and there, the size of pencil erasers. They gave him an oxygen tent and chemo pills and warned him not to smoke near the child. They threatened calling a social worker. Now he puffs on his cigarette, wondering why everyone but him has gotten the big C, wondering why he hasn't the courage to quit. He pinches the butt between two fingers and taps it out in the ashtray. He admires its ornate design, beautiful even when full of ash. It's the classy European kind, tall rim with gold filter cups. It even has the raised lump in the center to ease the smoker with the snuffing. It's the only thing of value he has left. And as the embers press against white porcelain, another eraser-sized spot blossoms in the baby's lungs. The child coughs, and the tray beneath his fingertips sputters a small plume of air. An uncommon cold. This is really bad writing, but I'm going to read it to you anyway. The sick man sneezes and his nose runs fast, dripping ugly down his beard. His head contracts and he grabs a tissue just in time for the next one. But when he examines it, he sees blood and flesh. He sneezes again and his complete nose comes off in the tissue. He'd scream if he wasn't in a coughing fit now, choking on snot, erupting so violently that his head explodes. Green sputum volcanoes out of his neck hole before the ribcage bursts open in a spray of foul gore. The phlegmy globule that remains, heaped high atop the man's pelvic bowl, wonders what man could possibly catch him now that he has the legs to run. Thank you. You like snot stories, do you? It's a raw dog screaming press. This is actually semi-autobiographical. Sprayers. I dragged myself out of bed and into the bathroom. I was ritually brushing my teeth, ritually foaming at the mouth in the mirror, ritually bored. But then the foam turned pink with blood, and I knew it was the blood from my dreams, the blood I'd slurped from a skunk's neck like a vampire in my black and white dreams, the blood that tasted like paprika and cloves on my tongue as the sour, musky oil jetted out of the skunk's ass, streaming all the way over to a nearby tree for a good 2 seconds before trickling down to just a quivering rivulet that poured over the back of my hand, the hand that broke the skunk's spine as my teeth sunk in around the cord of its neck. Kneeling in the earthy loam of my dream, I was a skunk vampire on all fours, my widow's peak black as oil, my hair slicked back on my head and freaked with broad white lines as I gnawed into the neck of the animal I murdered, my beard lapping against the skunk's wet fur like a bloody paintbrush. I used that paintbrush to change the skunk's white lines to red. I looked up at the mirror and realized I was brushing my teeth with an electric razor before I used that razor to paintbrush away my beard. I smiled with bloody gums and neglected to use deodorant as I got dressed and headed to my job, spraying fragrance samples on interested passers-by at the shopping mall.